that's happened. Don't just react. Look back at whatever they're talking about. They're saying, yo, you're being childish when blah, blah, blah. Look back at it. Okay. If you say, okay, yeah, you know what? Then just acknowledge it. Yeah, I was acting kind of childish when I did this, but there was a reason behind it. Acknowledge the first thing to get you over something is to acknowledge it, right? Mm-hmm. Now, when they say about insecurity, if you know you're not an insecure person, right? Yeah. There's nothing insecure about you. That can never trigger you. That should never trigger you because you know you're not insecure. Mm-hmm. Chances are they're throwing their insecurity out on you. If you know you're not an insecure person, right? Yeah. And every single time that person's always like, why are you being so insecure? Sometimes you're acting so insecure. Realize that they're not talking about you. They're talking about themselves.
That, and I will say you're always in your feelings or your emotions. It's like, am I a robot?
Look, man, okay, I'm going to say this.
I shouldn't show my emotions?
Nah, I'm going to say this for all our male listeners. Look, you need to be, like, it's perfectly fine to be emotional. Yeah. It's perfectly fine to be. It's human to show emotion. If you're not allowed to show your emotion, then there's something wrong with that person. Because if you love somebody, you should be able to show them that you love them. If you're pissed, you should be able to be pissed. It's funny how for guys we're allowed to be angry, but we're not allowed to be sad. Yeah. Like if somebody in our life passes away, it's more expected of us. It's more accepted of us to be pissed than to cry. Like we lose a football game or whatever, like something that we find emotional. It's always acceptable when we're angry, but if we are feeling sad or crying, it's always like we're looked at being soft. Yeah. No. If you feel to cry, you should be able to cry. And then you should have somebody in your life who's supportive enough to be there for you. And realize there are some women that their emotional state is messed up. They don't know how to, find that emotional balance or being able to cry or show emotion. True. Right? Just deal. You just got to deal and be there for that person. So for guys, perfectly fine to cry, perfectly fine to be emotional. Just don't, just be who you are and find that person that accepts you for who you are. Because if they can't accept you and this is who you are, move on and find the next one. True. Because it doesn't make any sense to sit there and waste time with somebody who's not gonna, accept you 100%.
True. That's true. Can't knock that.
So I guess we're gonna go on to our last topic of the day.
Yeah, it's all about you.
Oh Lord, it ain't all about me. God damn. Okay. All right. So give you a little background about me when it comes to singing. Aside from my whole Iron Letter thing, I go by Othello, which is my stage name. Othello came to me from a friend back when I was in high school. He was watching the play, he was reading the play Othello. Mm-hmm. And in the hallway that I was the only black guy in the hallway surrounded full of white girls. So he called me Othello, and I hated it for the longest time. But then, it just came to me. It stuck when I was looking out for my, the name to go by when I was singing. So I've been doing that for, a number of years. Presently, I'm not doing that as much, but I still do sing, as you've heard. I still am going to be doing some stuff in the coming months or so. I'm hoping to get back in the studio and do something. My boy TJ is trying to put some beats together for me. Mm-hmm. So hopefully you'll hear something on my page and also on the Den of Owls page of a single. So we'll see what goes with that. The writing. Yeah, I write all my own songs and I write short stories. So right now, if you go on the Den of Owls page, you'll see part 2 of a story that I wrote a few years ago called In the Dark. I came up with that idea to write those stories from a friend of mine. She basically said, you've been writing a lot of songs. Why don't you find something that, another outlet? Because you're really good at writing, emotional stuff, and you're good at writing from different people's point of views. So I decided to write this short story, and it just so happened that the first one I decided to write was from a female's point of view, and you know it's really hot and heavy and deep, so you know deal with it. But from what I've seen so far, you know a lot of people like it, so that's cool. You should be seeing two more coming soon. One is called the Journey, and the other one I can't name it right now. It's undisclosed. It will be undisclosed, but there are aspects of death and love and mystery which within it, and a part of it is about previous life, previous situations in my life. But you'll get more details when you get the first taste of that.
So what made you write?
In regards to songs, I started writing songs when I was a kid. They were really bad. You could tell that I was young when I was writing them. But what made me really want to start writing my own songs is that I listen to a lot of music. Like I listen to a lot of R&B. And big influences were, you know, Boyz II Men, Drew Hill, Luther Vandross, Teddy Pendergrass, and
no Brandy.
Oh, come on, man! I'm a male artist. When it comes to my writing for females, I was listening to male artists. Now, of course, I listen to Brandy. I listen to Monica.
No Music Soul Child.
Yo, dog, remember, I'm an older cat. I was writing before Music Soul Child came out on the radio, dog. I graduated high school in 2000. Remember this.
Oh, God.
So, yo, I know about the Music Soul Child and whatnot, but that was, like, coming up in the generations. But, yo, I was mostly listening to, like, a lot of, you know, the old school cats that I would consider, right? So, I wrote like them. I kind of modeled around them, and then I found my voice when I was in, I think, I would want to say grade 11. I found my voice. And so from there, I just started you know, doing showcases at school and started up a group with these guys, G.O.D. They're called, the group is called Gentlemen of Desire, but they call it G.O.D. And it's like, we started getting hate on because people were saying, yo, how are you going to call yourself God?
Wow.
But yeah, so I just started doing stuff with them, and you know, I just, as time went by, I started developing my writing, and you know, I got a lot better. And funny enough, what really hit it off for me with my writing is I started listening to a lot of hip hop. I started listening to a lot of hip hop. So I started. That's when I found Tupac and Biggie, and my biggest influence in the way that I write music, and it's funny to say this, the outside of all those R&B artists, my biggest influence was Method Man.
Okay.
I love the fact of how he could switch from doing something that rhymes into something that's off beat or off kilter,
yeah,
but then bring it right back into it, right? And the fact how he uses a lot of symbolism and whatnot in the way he flows. So I found that really therapeutic when I was starting to write my stuff, and that's why I could like make myself different from everybody else. Because when I was writing, I was more writing a rap that I'm actually singing, right? That I could take it back, and if I really wanted to rap something, I could. But I was just I'm actually just writing a rap that I'm going to be singing out to people. That's why when like I actually had one song where I actually rapped on it. I was singing plus I rapped, and at the time when the song came out, Drake was out, right? This is just when like Drake started to come up, like got real big, right?
Best I ever had.
Yeah, when he started getting real big, and a lot of people are saying like, "Yo, you're trying to be like Drake. How the hell are you trying to do that?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not trying to be Drake. Drake is a rapper who can sing. I am a singer who can rap. There's a total difference, right? Drake raps all the time, and then sings periodically.
Yeah."
I sing all the time, and I rap periodically. I'll never consider myself a rapper, but I can when I want to, right? So that's what I did when it came to the music. The short stories, just because I could. Honestly, like a lot of times characters just come in my head. I wrote a play.
Oh shit.
I actually wrote a play. I want to get it produced, but I haven't had the financial means to do so. So I'm hoping, eventually one day I can get that play out there so people can see it. It's called The Brotherhood.
Okay.
And yeah, so I wrote an entire, first act, second act, like a full play.
Oh man.
Right? And it's
full production.
Yeah, full production. I know the set design. I know every insight about the characters that I've written, like full thing. Jeez. Just never got it done. And I only wrote that because I was in a play, the last play I was in, and after it was done, I'm like, I could do better than this. I'm like, I could write something better than this.
It's always like that.
And so I did. One day I just started writing. I sat down. And I'm like, okay, I wrote about this character, wrote about that character, and then I just started throwing them in the story. And it just developed from there. And that's how I wrote the play. The short stories are exactly the same thing, just because I can. I think about a character, I think about a situation, and I just start writing.
Yeah.
Regardless of, what the situation is. Like, with this one, it was just, what could I do? The story basically was around because of an ex who told me that she went to this place called Wicked.
Okay.
Right? So she told me that she went there periodically. And so I was intrigued about it. So I asked her little questions about it. And she's like, oh, yeah, there's this scenario and that scenario and this room and whatever. So I thought of, what if there was a room where it's basically dark? There's only a bed and you're basically your five senses. Right? You only have four of your five senses. Right? So you don't get to see anything, but you can feel and hear and touch and taste, right? So that's where the scenario came from. And the reason why I wrote it from a female's point of view is because, something like that where you're not getting the visual, but you're getting all their senses. A guy's point of view would be kind of weird.
If he's not woke.
Yeah, a guy's point of view would be really weird. So I wrote it from a female's point of view. And the first thing I did is, as soon as I finished writing it, I gave it to one of my female friends.
Yeah.
I said, please read this. Tell me what you think, because I'm a guy writing from a girl's point of view. And her response back to me was, who needs porn when you got your writing? I'm like, okay. I was like, okay, all right, good. I did the right thing by this. He's like, yeah, I actually believed your female character. She made sense. And you didn't just try to evoke a female. You actually created a female in your own mind and describe things in her perspective. I was like, all right, cool. So that's pretty much what I do. I can basically take any scenario and just make a story out of it. And I've written 4, and I started writing a book. I got 5 chapters in, and then life happens. You start getting busy, so I haven't really been able to sit down on that anymore. But I still do want to get back to it and hopefully finish that book. So,
okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
All right. It's intriguing. Intriguing, Sing. Do you dance?
Hell no. I do a little bubble. I do a little boogle. When I dance, okay, yeah, that's one of the other things. Like, people try to get me to be who I'm not. That's one of the other things I hate about friggin' music.
Okay.
I hate about the music industry right now.
Talk to me.
Okay, going on a rant. I hate the fact that everybody in the music industry now has to dance. Everybody has to be a certain way, has to do a certain thing. I remember when music was, you could just be on stage or in a music video and just shuffle, 2-step, and just sing a song and just do a little bob and whatever. Now it's a whole friggin' production. And most of the time they're not singing anything. When they go live, they ain't singing nothing. I give Chris Brown props because the man actually sings and most dances. Of the time when he does his shows. Rihanna doesn't, and that's why another reason why I don't like her. I'm sorry. People want to tell me that I'm lying. Yeah, Rihanna doesn't really sing in her shows. She does a lot of yelling, but not a lot of singing. Then the fact that the main reason for me why I don't like it is because, like, when I was shooting a music video at one point in time. I had a manager and I was shooting a music video. Yeah. And she's like, okay, so this is the dance break that we have a choreographer to come and do this dance. I'm like, why do I need to dance? Like, I'm not a dancer. That's not what I do. I sing, I do my thing, and that's about it. It's like, oh, no. In everybody's music video, they got to have a little dance routine and whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not like everybody else. I'm not trying to be Usher. I'm not trying to be Chris Brown. I'm like, and then the fact that they're telling me I had to lie about my age at the time when I'm doing this. It's
God
like,
damn.
oh, we want to, because you look younger, we want to get you around, a younger demographic. At the time, I think I was like 27 or 28.
Okay.
And my manager was telling me to tell people I was 21. Wanted to lie in my thing and say I was like 21 or 23. And I'm like, then I'm going to have these 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds thinking that they can get close to me. It's like, do you not see that there's a big age gap there where I'm actually 28 and now I'm going to have 18-year-olds hunting me down? Look, I understand when you're in music that you're going to have people that are younger or older that want to talk to you. Like, look, Justin Bieber, he was like friggin' 16 and he had like grown women wanting him, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I get that. But he is a kid. I'm not a kid. I'm a grown-ass man. And you're wanting me to lie. And you're wanting me to do things that are not in my comfort zone, aren't in my wheelhouse. But if you put the time and just let me show my strengths, where I'm a singer, I'm an R&B singer, I'm not a pop singer, I'm an R&B singer, let me be who I am, then we can do something. But if you try to force something that isn't in my wheelhouse, I'm going to look stupid.
Because not you.
Yeah.
Not your element.
It's 100% not me, and it's not in my element. So most times, like when I did showcases, and I was doing showcases where I had that dance group with me, and I had to do those dance routines, I looked dumb. I looked weird, right? But then when I got to just hold a mic and just belt out a song, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, because now I'm in my element. I'm doing what I'm comfortable in. And what I feel like with the music industry, it's changed so much that it's all about image and it's all about dancing, and it's not, and people forgot about how to sing.
I agree.
It's like we can make an artist.